Hello class. In this video I just want to give you a very concise introduction to arguments. Arguments are the method of doing philosophy. You're going to be doing a lot of arguments in this semester, so it's important to learn how to do arguments well, how to construct good arguments. So let's start by just defining what an argument is. Some people, when they talk about arguments, they just mean like, oh, so-and-so got into a fight yesterday. Boy, it was a bad argument. That's one way to understand arguments. That's not how we're going to be using it in this course. In philosophy, what we mean by an argument is a series of statements intended to provide support for a single statement. So what do I mean by this? Let me give you an example. Suppose you and I are debating the morality of abortion. You tell me that you think abortion is wrong. And I say, why do you think that? What is your argument for that? And in response to me, maybe you say something like, well, I think abortion involves killing fetuses. Fetuses are persons, and it's always wrong to kill a person. Therefore, I think abortion is morally wrong. What you've just done is you've given me an argument. That is, you've given me several statements that were intended to provide support for a single statement. Now, the statements providing support, those are the premises. The statement being supported, that's the conclusion. So you've offered several statements supporting a single statement. You've given me an argument. Now, was it a good argument? Well, let's talk about that. How do we know if an argument is a good argument? Well, there are two ways to tell whether an argument is a good argument. The first way is we ask, are the premises true? The second way is we ask if the argument is valid. And I'll explain what that means in just a minute. So if any of the premises is false, or if the argument is valid, it's a bad argument and we should reject it. Okay, so let's go back to your argument about abortion. Are the premises true? You said fetuses are persons and it's always wrong to kill a person. Therefore, abortion, which involves killing a fetus, is morally wrong. Are those premises true? Is it true that a fetus is a person? And is it true that every instance of killing a person is morally wrong? I don't want to answer that right now. I want you to think about that, and we're going to be talking about that more later this semester. But see if you can come up with maybe a counterexample, a reason to think that one of the premises is false. For example, is it always wrong to kill a person? Some people think that, well, in the death penalty, it's not wrong to kill a person. People disagree about that. Some people think, well, if you're engaged in warfare, it might be not wrong to kill an enemy combatant or something like that. So maybe there are some cases in which killing an innocent person is not morally wrong. But anyway, that's just one way to start evaluating whether or not the premises are true. The second way of evaluating the argument, like I said, is validity. Is the argument valid? What do I mean by valid? Here's what I mean. An argument is valid if its premises support the conclusion in the right kind of way. And that way is you ask yourself, if the premises were true, would that guarantee the truth of the conclusion? So this is no longer talking about whether the premises actually are true. It's saying, if they were true, would the conclusion have to follow from the truth of the premises? So let's go back to your argument again. If we assume that fetuses are persons, and we assume that all instances of killing a person are morally wrong, would it follow that abortion is wrong? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you assume that those premises are true, the conclusion would have to follow. It would be logically absurd to say that both of those premises are true, but the conclusion is false. That's bizarre. Okay, it's kind of like saying, if a dog is a mammal, then a dog is an animal. A dog is a mammal, but a dog is not an animal? That's logically absurd. So validity has to do with the structure of the argument. You ask yourself, if the premises are true, then the conclusion would have to be true. Okay, so those are the two ways of evaluating arguments. Now, in what follows in the next few slides in this module, there's going to be a more thorough discussion of arguments, and you're going to have a couple of exercises to kind of get this down. But it's important that you get it down, that you know how to reconstruct arguments, you know how to identify premises, conclusions, present your own arguments, and evaluate arguments. So after doing the exercises, take this little practice test. Let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of arguments this semester. If you have any questions about it at all, please feel free to ask me. I'd be happy to talk more about it with you. Okay?